Addod Solutions. Add-on desired.
Hello viewers, welcome to Addod Solutions Daily Current Affairs. I am Lokesh Penigonda. This session is designed for aspirants preparing for banking, groups and such as competitive examinations. We cover news articles from both the Hindu and the Indian Express. Make use of this session. First, we have an article dealing with the SDGs index. The SDG index. It stands for the Sustainable Development Goals Index. This is an index brought out by the Niti Aayog. We all know that Niti Aayog is a premier think tank of the government, and in the year 2018, for the first time, the Niti Aayog has brought out the SDG index. So, what is the objective of bringing in such an index? The objective of bringing in such an index is to monitor the country's progress, regarding the sustainable development goals. So with this objective, the Niti Aayog has brought this index. As we are talking about the sustainable development goals, we should also know who for the first time brought exclusively sustainable development goals. In the year 2015, all the United Nations members has accepted to move forward with the sustainable development goals, and they pledged to the United Nations that they will achieve the 17 sustainable development goals by the year 2030. And Niti Aayog, to monitor the progress towards achieving this goal and to promote the competitiveness between the states towards achieving this target, has brought out this index. And this 2020 index, which is published by the Niti Aayog yesterday, will be the third ever index by the Niti Aayog. And you should note that in all the 3 years, that is in all the 3 indexes, all the 3 years, the state of Kerala has topped the rankings. So in this index, the states and union territories will be ranked according to the progress it has made to achieve the sustainable development goals. And in all the 3 years, the state of Kerala got the first position when it comes to the states. And in this year, that is the 2020 Sustainable Development Goal Index, we have seen the Union Territory of Chandigarh achieving the first place. So, when it comes to the states, Kerala is the first. When it comes to the Union Territories, Chandigarh is the first. And you should also know about the state which is performing very bad in this index. The state which is in the lowest ranking, that is the lowest ranked state, is the state of Bihar. So this is with respect to the states which are at the top level, which is at the bottom level. And also you should note that the composite index of India increased from 60 in the year 2019 to 20 to 66 in the year 2020 to 2021. So what we have seen here is that states are progressing and some states are in the very high of the stable. And we can see here that not only there is improvement at the state level, but also there is improvement at the composite Indian level as well. So from 60 to 66, the composite index has increased from 2019-20 to 2020 and 21. And you should also know that when designing this Sustainable Development Goal Index, Niti Aayog has collaborated with United Nations India branch. So, Niti Aayog and United Nations India branch has come together to formulate the Sustainable Development Goal Index. And also you should note that the Niti Aayog prepared index will only take into consideration 16 sustainable development goals. So, when the United Nations in the year 2015 has brought the Sustainable Development Goals, it has brought 17 goals, whereas Niti Aayog considers only 16 sustainable development goals when it is bringing in the Sustainable Development Goal Index. And also you should note that the state of Kerala has achieved the score of 75. So this is an index from 0 to 100, where 0 being the lowest, 100 being the highest. And the state of Kerala got 75, which is a top rank and a top mark achieved by any state in India. Next we have an article dealing with the trademarks registry. The trademark registry has given the usage of the acronym KSRTC to the state of Kerala, thus defeating the Karnataka's petition which was filed with the trademarks registry. So we'll see this dispute. Both the Kerala and the state of Karnataka uses the acronym KSRTC. Kerala state uses this acronym which states that Kerala State Road Transport Corporation, whereas Karnataka also uses the same acronym which spells out Karnataka State Road Transport Corporation. And the state of Karnataka went to the Trademark Registry of India and it has accused Kerala of using the KSRTC name or the acronym illegally. And Kerala also submitted its own defensive proposal at the trademark registry. And following the petitions and following the defensive arguments given by both the states, the trademark registry has upheld the Kerala argument with the usage of KSRTC, because the trademark registry has found out that Kerala from the year 1965 onwards using this acronym, whereas the state of Karnataka is only using this acronym from 1973. So from this we can understand that it is the Kerala which has started using this acronym for the first time. And you should also note that before the year 1973, the Road Transport Corporation of the state of Karnataka used to be the Mysore Government Road Transport Department. So clearly Kerala has been using this acronym from a long time, and that's why the trademark registry has upheld Kerala's argument. And you should also know that the trademark registry is headquartered, or its head office is in the city of Mumbai. And this trademark registry comes under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So this is a body which comes under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. This is with respect to the trademark registry and the dispute regarding the usage of the acronym KSRTC. Next we have an article where it is stated that the government has advised the splitting up of the MG Narega wage benefit accounts. So we'll see what this advice is. We all know that MG Narega stands for Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. So it stands for the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, and this was first ever launched by the government in the year 2006. The objective of this act is to provide 100 days, guaranteed employment, guaranteed wage or guaranteed employment for rural labor, So this is the objective of this act, and the objective also serves many purposes. First purpose is by providing 100 days guaranteed job to laborers in the rural areas, you will provide them economic benefits. So as you are providing them job, you will also provide them financial wages, you will also provide them economic support. And as they are getting economic support from the government through this job, they will not have to they will not have to migrate to the nearby cities for the job. So it will prevent migration from rural areas to the urban areas, and it will help in the rural population development when it comes to economy and when it comes to infrastructure development as well. And now the government has advised the MGNREGA to divide the salaries into different accounts for SCs and the STs. For the SCs and the STs. So from the above objective, we have understood that MGNREGA will provide 100 days job or the 100 days employment to people living in the rural areas. And let's assume that 100 people have received the job and the government is paying them 1 lakh rupees. So let's assume that 1 lakh rupees is the wage the government is providing to these 100 people. Now the government is asking the MGNREGA to divide this money into 2 sections. First section will have salaries given to people who are not from SCs and STs. So let's assume that if of the 1 lakh, SCs and ST people are getting 30,000 rupees, then this 30,000 rupees would be given in one account, and the remaining 70,000 which will be given to other categories of people would be mentioned in other section or in other account. What is the objective of differentiating these accounts? The government is stating that by providing different accounts and by maintaining different accounts to SCs, STs and other sections, we will know how much money is being spent on the SCs and STs. So the government will know how much money is going to them, and the government can come up with more money or more package to help them improve their financial status. So this is with respect to the new advice the government has given to the MGNREGA. Next we have an article where the Central Vigilance Commission has laid down a criteria, or it's laid down a norm for employing retired officials. So let's assume that there is person A. Person A has worked from the year 2010 to 2020 in a particular government organization, and let's assume that he has retired in the year 2020, and let's assume that he has worked in organization X, and now organization Y, which is also a government organization or a government body, wants to employ him on contractual basis or on consultancy basis. So earlier he might be a government employee and he has retired in 2020, but the same employee can be asked to work as a consultant or on a contractual basis. So the Central Vigilance Commission is stating that before you employ a government official, you have to follow a particular procedure. And what will be the major objective of following this procedure? The objective of the procedure is to prevent employing any persons who have tainted past or any cases pending against them. So if Mr. A, who has worked in organization X, may be retired in 2020, but there might be some civil or criminal cases that are pending against him, because let's assume that he was caught red-handed in a bribery. So there might be a case against person A, and if organization Y does not know about this case against person A, organization Y might employ Mr. A. So this might lead to employing persons with tainted past or employing persons who have cases filed against them. So to prevent such a issue, the Central Vigilance Commission has stated that before you employ any ex-government officials who are retired or who have worked in the government, you should get a report from the earlier organization he has worked in. So if organization Y wants to employ A, organization Y needs to get a report from organization X, and if organization X is stating that Mr. A has a clean record, only then organization Y can employ Mr. A. This is to prevent further corruption in the government organizations. Next we have an article where the union government for the first time ever has ordered 30 crore doses, and for the first time ever it has paid nearly 1500 crore as advance to the 30 crore COVID-19 vaccine doses. So, to purchase the 30 crore COVID-19 vaccine doses, the union government has given 1500 crore advance to a firm called as Biological E. Biological E is a vaccine developing private firm, and also you should note that Biological E is the oldest private vaccine development firm. It is the oldest private vaccine developing firm in India, and this is based in the city of Hyderabad, and the government has given this 1500 crores as an advance. And you should also note that the Biological E firm has not yet released any COVID-19 vaccines. It has not yet released any COVID-19 vaccines, but it is undergoing phase 3 trials for launching a COVID-19 vaccine. So even though the firm has not yet officially launched the COVID-19 drug, the government has still gone out and has made an agreement with this firm to supply 30 crore drugs regarding the COVID-19 by the end of this year. Next we have an article where the Serum Institute of India is also seeking the indemnity from liability. So what do you mean by indemnity from liability? When the government is trying to get vaccines from the Moderna and the Pfizer, these vaccine maker companies has asked the government to provide this indemnity from liability cost. So what is this indemnity from liability cost, which is being requested by many vaccine developing companies? Let's assume that these companies provide a vaccine, and let's assume that this vaccine is named as A, and after consuming this vaccine A, person X and person Y might get severe side effects, and they might also even die after taking the vaccine. And if there is any severe side effects, or if they lose their lives after taking the vaccine A developed by these countries, families of these members can go and file a case in the court, and they might request or they might ask for compensation. They might ask these companies for the compensation because they will state that only after consuming your vaccines, our family member X and our family member Y has lost their lives. So to prevent paying the compensation, the companies which are producing the vaccines are requesting the government to provide the indemnity clause. And if the government provides indemnity clause from liabilities to these companies, even if people die in the future, or even if people get severely affected after consuming these vaccines, these companies will not have to pay any compensation to the people who have consumed their vaccines. So this is with respect to the indemnity from liability clause, which is being requested by many vaccine makers. Next we have an article where it is stated that NASA has announced 2 new missions to the planet Venus. Venus is the nearest planet to the Earth. It is the nearest planet to the Earth, but the temperatures on Venus ranges from 450 to 470 degrees Celsius, whereas the temperatures on the Earth range from -25 degrees to 45 degrees in general. So the planet Venus is very hot when it comes to the temperature, and the NASA which is the American Space Agency, has stated that it will launch 2 missions to the Venus to know and to understand why the temperatures in Venus is very high. Next we have an article where the capital markets regulator, which is the Securities Exchange Board of India, has raised the mutual funds overseas investment limit. It has raised the mutual funds overseas investment limit. We know that several foreign countries and several businessmen who are living in foreign countries invest in India. So similarly, even the Indian mutual funds invest in overseas markets, and the SEBI, which is the capital markets regulator of India, has enhanced the limit of mutual funds from 600 million to $1 billion. $1 billion. So if there is a mutual fund, or if there is a mutual firm A, it can from now onwards invest $1 billion in the overseas market. But you should also note that the limit on the overseas investment is fixed at $7 billion. So there is a $1 billion upper limit for each mutual fund firm, whereas on the whole from India you have the upper limit of $7 billion US, which can be invested in the overseas markets. Next we have an article where the Supreme Court has quashed the sedition case which is filed against Mr. Vinod Dua. So a sedition case was filed against Mr. Vinod Dua, whom you can see in this image. He is a senior journalist. And when there was Delhi riots, when there were riots in the Delhi in the year 2019, Mr. Vinod Dua has made several comments on the YouTube and has posted several videos on the YouTube alleging the failure of the government of India. So he has criticized the union government for failing to prevent the riots and for failing to manage the riots faster. So this was the case. This was done in the year 2019, and thereafter a sedition case was filed against him by the Himachal Pradesh police, and they have filed the sedition case using the section 124A of the Indian Penal Code. So this is a section where you can use against a person for the sedition case, and the police have stated that by commenting on the government failure, you are inciting violence. And the case went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court in the yesterday's judgment has stated that every citizen have a right to criticize the government, and every citizen have a right to comment on the efforts and to comment on the measures taken by the government. And you cannot use the sedition article or you cannot use the sedition act against them to silence them. And the Supreme Court has stated that you can only use the sedition act if a person through his speech or through his actions incites violence, or through his actions bring in public disorder. And the Supreme Court has stated that after going through the Vinod Dua's videos and after going through Vinod Dua's comments, we find out that these are not inciting any public disorder, and for this reason we are quashing or we are removing the case which is filed against Mr. Vinod Dua. This is with respect to the sedition FIR against Mr. Vinod Dua and the Supreme Court judgment. Next we have an article where the state of Bihar plans to bring in 33% reservation for the girls in the government medical and engineering colleges, in the state government's medical and engineering colleges. The government of Bihar is of the view, by providing reservation to the women in the medical and engineering colleges, we can promote more education to the women in these technical courses, and it is on the view to provide 33% reservation to the girls in the state government's medical and engineering colleges. And also you should know that the state of Bihar already provides 35% reservation to the women in all the government jobs, But there is one exception, which is the police department. The state of Bihar provides 33% reservation to the women in the police department. So, state of Bihar, when it comes to reservation for the women, is much ahead compared to the other states in India. Next, we have an article where it is stated that the blue-finned mahseer fish is out of the IUCN red list. In the image, you can see the blue-finned mahseer fish, and earlier it is kept under the IUCN red list of endangered species. And in this week, the IUCN has removed the fish or the species from the red list, and it has moved it to the least concern category. Why did this change occur? Why did the IUCN move this fish from the red list to the least concern category? It is because of the conservation efforts. Taken by the Tata Power Group. You can see in this image that there is a initiative called as Act for Mahseer, and you can also see that this is a Tata Power initiative. So Tata Power, which is a firm of the Tata Group, has started this project which has a name of conserving the mahseer fish, and due to the conservation efforts by the Tata Power, thousands of blue-finned mahseer fish is conserved safely in the Valvan hatchery in the Lonavala, which is a artificial lake created by the firm. And due to the conservation efforts, the number of blue-finned mahseer fish has increased multifold, and for this reason, the IUCN has changed the category of mahseer fish from the red list to the least concerned species status. This is with respect to the blue-finned mahseer. Next, we have an article where the state of Odisha has announced special packages for the PVTGs. So, what do you mean by PVTGs? PVTG stands for particularly vulnerable tribal groups. In India, we have already seen in our earlier current affairs videos that there are 75 groups which are identified as particularly vulnerable tribal groups, and we have already seen that the highest number of PVTGs live in the state of Odisha, and the PVTGs living in the state of Odisha have been facing many problems due to the COVID pandemic, and as a result, to improve their financial and to improve their physical well-being, the state of Odisha has announced a special package. We'll see what all will be given to the PVTGs under this special package. The special package will include free distribution of the mask, sanitizing material, dry ration, and rupees 1400 to all the PVTG households. So this is a special package brought out by the state of Odisha for the PVTGs. Next, we have an article which is dealing with the passing away of a former Prime Minister and the President of Mauritius, Mr. A. Jugnauth, who is the former Prime Minister and President of the country of Mauritius has passed away yesterday, and you should know that he is the father of the current Prime Minister of the Mauritius, and he is of Indian origin. He is of Indian origin. He has taken many steps for improving the relations between the country of India and the country of Mauritius, and for this reason he was given Padma Bhushan Award. He was given Padma Bhushan Award by the country of India, and now he has passed away due to age-related illness. And as this article is dealing with the country of Mauritius, we'll see where Mauritius is and what is the capital of Mauritius. You can see in this image that Mauritius is an island country which is near the continent of Africa, and the capital of Mauritius is Port Louis. Next we have an article where Miss Koneru Hampi has qualified for the candidates tournament. Miss Koneru Hampi has won second prize or has come up as a runner-up in the Grand Prix chess tournament. And as she got the second prize in this Grand Prix chess tournament, she will be able to participate in the candidates tournament. And what is the significance of participating in the candidates tournament? Whoever wins this candidates tournament will have a right to challenge the world chess champion. So let's assume that if Miss Koneru Hampi wins the candidates championship, she will be able to challenge the world chess champion. And who is the world chess champion now? Magnus Carlsen. Magnus Carlsen is the current world chess champion, and she will be able to challenge Mr. Magnus Carlsen. So this is a significance of being able to participate in the candidates tournament. And with this, we have covered all the relevant articles from both the newspapers, and we have come to the end of this session. Inform about Addod's initiative to your other aspirant friends, and thank you for watching.
Addod Solutions. Add-on Desires.